Got my eyes straight ahead, got my head in the game. With the red light on, I'm just waiting for the change. Keep my head down low.
Hi, Jay Fallon. Thanks for listening to the Slippery Slope. So obviously here in Queensland, we have the state election coming up very shortly. Stephen Miles for the Labor Party is running. He wants to continue on as the premier of this great state. Personally, I think he and his MPs, fellow MPs, have done a ridiculously terrible job, especially the police minister, Mark Ryan. Absolutely foolish behavior from him. Cannot be trusted. I've got no idea how or why he's even in charge of the police, the minister for police, because he seems to, you look at the policies that he had a couple of years ago, he seems to absolutely hate the Queensland Police Service, the Queensland police officers, doesn't stand by them at all. When it came to the mandate, just throwing them under the bus. He and that one that I don't even want to mention, who's gone, former commish, they just threw police officers under the bus. But whatever. Hopefully, we can throw him out with the bathwater at this next election. And then obviously, the United States has an election coming up as well. Donald Trump for the Republicans, Kamala Harris for the Democrats. So I'm going to show you a video. Going to play a video, which I tossed around whether I should do it or not. But I'm going to, because this is talking about Kamala Harris. But there's a couple of points in there I thought really relate to Australia and Queensland as well when it comes to talking about how she handled this particular case that we're going to go through. But it just shows the importance, I think, of good leadership and also holding our politicians accountable, no matter what country you're in. You're in the United States, whatever state you live in, you're in Australia, living in Queensland, wherever, what region you live in, we need to hold our politicians accountable. They stand up and tell blatant lies and literally just talk, but they just lie. Just say it like that. And they will say whatever they can. And it seems with Kamala, not just with her, but it seems with Kamala, and you see it with the current premier here in Queensland, Miles, Dr. Stephen Miles, that they will say whatever they need to say to get them into that position of power that they are vying for. So we're going to watch this video. I'll set this up for you. So this video was about, it's an American woman, a black American woman, who basically was victim to a law that Kamala, is that how you pronounce the name? Kamala? I don't know however they pronounce it. Kamala, that she introduced, specifically wrote, because she was wanting to curb truancy, school truancy. Apparently, school truancy was at the top of the criminal list in California, and that was it. She was going to start locking up parents. So I come across this story, and absolutely disgusting what this lady endured. She's basically, her daughter is sick. Her daughter's got a serious illness. Her daughter was not going to school all the time. The school knew about it. Her daughter always had doctor's notes, certificates, because she had to spend so much time in hospital. And yet Kamala, whatever, saw to it that she was arrested, given a perp walk, and put before the courts, all because she had it in her head that Kamala had it in her head that this was a good law. This is something that she needed to do. I think is absolutely disgusting. Anyway, so we're going to go through this together. I'm not going to stop this very much, actually. I've cut it a little short anyway, so just going to try and let the whole thing play and talk about it at the end.
I intend to fight for Black Lives Matters. I intend to fight.
If Black Lives matter to her, why didn't I matter?
I don't agree what Kamala Harris did to my mom. And I don't agree with what she's done to other parents as well.
My message to all Americans, especially Black Americans, do not trust Kamala Harris.
I'm so proud of you right now, because you walked all the way down here and I wasn't expecting you to walk.
My daughter, Shayla, suffers from sickle cell anemia, a chronic, painful genetic disease.
As a prosecutor and law enforcement, I have a huge stick.
It's a very sharp stabbing pain, and it hurts a whole lot. Like from my chest all the way down, it hurts, including my side.
So I decided I was going to start prosecuting parents for truancy.
When Kamala Harris was the California Attorney General, she had me arrested and prosecuted because my handicapped daughter was sick in the hospital and had missed some days of school.
Wow.
I spent a majority of my time here at the hospital.
Kamala's horrible policies hurt mothers like me and the Black community. My name is Sheree Peoples, and this is my story. I am a single mother. I've worked as a certified nursing assistant and a caregiver. My daughter Shayla was born in 2002. When she was born, she was diagnosed with sickle cell anemia. It affects all major organs in the body and also causes extreme pain.
Dang.
Her whole life, she has been on medications like
sad.
morphine and Dilaudid to help her control the pain. In addition, she had to undergo blood transfusions every 3 weeks. My lifestyle became taking care of her almost full time. It is pretty typical for kids with Shayla disability to miss a lot of school.
I just got out of school. I've done 3 full days this week. Oh, I'm so tired.
And for years, the teachers were aware of her condition and her absences were all excused.
Dang.
California schools get their state and federal funding based off of average daily attendance. Schools are paid about $30 per student per day.
In San Francisco, we threatened the parents of truants with prosecution.
I first heard of Kamala Harris when she got elected California Attorney General.
We are putting parents on notice. We are going to make sure that you face the full force and consequences of the law.
She wrote a report saying truancy was costing California schools $1.4 billion a year in funding.
Because of truancy, California public schools lose $1.4 billion a year in funding. I want money.
Sound like Mayor Tiffany.
Kamala then wrote a law making it criminal for parents if their kids miss school time. Kamala even wrote a book called Smart on Crime.
You can read an excerpt from the book that she just plugged shamelessly. It's called Smart on Crime.
Talking about arresting parents for truancy.
I sent a letter on my letterhead out to every parent in the public school system.
In 2012, like all California parents, I received a threatening letter from Kamala Harris saying we'll go to jail for a year if our kids even miss 10% of school days.
Wow.
It was like a crazy intimidation tactic.
I'm going to start prosecuting parents for truancy.
I thought, wow, this woman doesn't have any empathy. Is it because she's not a mother? I also thought, how could she not understand it would disproportionately affect people of color, single Black mothers? But honestly, I didn't imagine it could affect me. Her teachers had her medical records from the Children's Hospital. I even had a 504 plan, which was an agreement between the school district and the parents to provide care for students with disabilities.
Oh, wow.
It was
got
April
the
18th,
She got
2013,
the paperwork.
in the morning. I'm in my pajamas. I had just fed my daughter, gave her medications, sent her off to school. Little did I know, there was a warrant out for my arrest.
Wow.
All of a sudden, the police is outside my house, and they started banging on the door. I opened up my door, and 2 officers entered my home. They told me I was under arrest for my child missing school. They said I was going to jail. I was shocked. I said, but my baby is sick. The school knows that. And they said, go talk to Kamala Harris. Place your hands behind your back.
My mom did nothing wrong. We did everything we were supposed to. I was always bringing doctor's notes, always calling the school to let them know that I was in the hospital.
Then they handcuff me. So they take me outside for what you call a perp walk. And oh my God, the TV news was there. The newspapers were there. You could swear I had killed somebody. It was degrading and humiliating. I was taken to the Criminal Justice Center. They took my mug shot.
That's just her saying.
I was fingerprinted like a criminal, and I was terrified.
And it felt like I caused her so much pain. Because in reality, it is because of me, even though I know it's not directly my fault.
That's so sad.
Sorry.
The next day, the Orange County Register showed the pictures of my arrest. They even had a close-up picture of my hands in handcuffs to show here's a black mother being arrested.
It was a truancy rate at over 2.5 times that of white students.
Everyone knew most truant kids were black. I think Kamala Harris wanted me as an example to threaten other single black mothers, like, this can happen to you if you don't get your kids in class. The police even put out a press release naming me and other black single mothers like Toya Daniels, who got arrested the same day. But my hell was just beginning. They gave me 2 charges: failure to supervise and encourage school attendance, and contributing to the delinquency of a minor.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. They framed my daughter as a gang member and basically charged me with neglect.
Wow.
I spent the next 2 years in court fighting these charges. Kamala assigned her nastiest prosecutors to my case.
My homicide prosecutors, my gang prosecutors. And they went over there and I said, when you go over there, look really mean.
Like 10 different prosecutors. They kept pressuring me to plead guilty and spend a year in jail.
Wow.
But I kept refusing because I did nothing wrong. All the time I had to spend going to court, I was struggling to care for my Shayla. I lost my job and couldn't pay rent.
Wow.
And we got evicted.
Wow.
I became homeless. We had to move into a motel.
And I ended up being in the hospital a lot during her trial. And in that hospital stay was when I had my stroke.
I had a stroke about 4 or 5 days ago.
Man.
And right now I'm doing pretty good. My hand is doing okay, I guess.
In 2015, after 2 years, they finally just gave up and dismissed my case. In 2018, the Supreme Court of California ruled that truancy cannot be punished by incarceration. It was unconstitutional. The courts finally stopped Kamala Harris' abuses.
Wow.
When I look back, I ask, why did
Those are
Kamala
radical
Harris
This is
arrest me?
rage-inducing.
Why was Kamala Harris so insensitive to a black woman with a handicapped child? Well, first, I learned that Kamala Harris has no common experience with black people. She grew up with an Indian mother. I remember she kept saying she was Indian.
To become the first Indian senator in U.S. history, which would be quite an accomplishment.
Not good.
What we're gonna cook today is an Indian recipe.
Yes.
Because you are Indian.
Yes.
And I learned she grew up in Canada, not in the United States, and went to a wealthy high school. I think in Canada, she must not have been exposed to American values, which respects the rights of individuals. When Kamala Harris ran for president in 2019, they asked her about arresting people like me, and she just lied her ass off.
The truancy program got a lot of criticism too. Did you actually lock anybody up?
No, we never locked anybody up. We never sent a parent to jail, and no parent went to jail. And we did prosecute some cases, but far few, only about 20.
It's ironic because Kamala helped raise money to bail out murderers, rioters, and thieves. But she thought I belonged in jail because I had a handicapped child. To me, Kamala is fake. She just repeats stupid things like unburdened.
Look, unburdened by what has been?
This was absolutely disgusting. What this lady and others had to endure, and not to mention her daughter, the pain and suffering that she had to endure, they had to endure, all because Kamala was trying to get ahead in her political career. She was just all about self gain, all about herself. That is all she was pushing here. She was just promoting herself and coming out and saying, she is hard on crime. She is hard on this. And then for it to be turned around in a higher court later on, said, well, you're not even, you can't even do this. One of the things that really stuck out to me, because we've all seen the same thing happen here in Australia. And that is when our police force is weaponized by politicians. Absolutely disgusting. We saw so much of it happening, obviously, during COVID-19. The politicians made laws. They were bad laws. They weren't well written. They weren't well thought out. They were just written on the fly. They were put out there. And then our police were charged with going out and enforcing these laws, pushing these laws. A lot of police, even though they could see that these laws weren't for the benefit of the community, they felt the pressure from above, and they knew that they had to go out and enforce these laws, even though they didn't agree with them, even though they weren't, even though in some cases they actually ended up being unlawful. And yet we've seen police forces all around the world being weaponized by politicians. So here you have this case in America, Kamala, obviously weaponizing the police, using the police to for her own dirty work, so that she can gain political points, promote her own political career. And we've seen the same thing happen here in Australia. Our politicians are weaponizing the police just for their own political gain, just so that they can, what they want to promote as being strong leaders. But they're not actually strong leaders, because they're just selfish leaders. They're being selfish. They're not actually caring for the people that they're supposed to be serving. So I was thinking about the upcoming elections. Obviously, the one concerning me is the one in Queensland. And I was thinking about the politicians that we have to choose from. And I was thinking, we want politicians who make it known that they are there to serve the community, to serve us. They're the ones that want our vote, but they are there to serve the community. They're not there to just dictate how things are going to be. They're not there to act as dictators or as despots. They're not there to weaponize the police force as we've seen in years past. That's not their role. They are there to serve the people who vote for them. And even if you didn't vote for them, even if, they only make it in by a small margin, they're still there to serve you, to serve the community, to serve the people of the state where we're serving here in Queensland, or if you're in America, to serve that nation. They're still there to serve the country, even if you didn't vote for them. And it's so important to vote for people who are willing to be held accountable, who are not trying to hide their past, who are able to say, yep, this is what I've done in the past. I mean, I've seen other interviews, and Kamala's seemed to, well, I think we saw it in that video there, in some sections of it, she actually denies, she downplays the role that she had in that truancy and the effect that it had on people and the effect that it had on California. She can't be honest with her past and honest with her with what she did, because now she can look back and be ashamed of it. But when we're voting, we want to be able to vote for politicians that will be able to be transparent and say, yep, you can hold me accountable. And if I've done something wrong, I'll stand up and I'll admit that I've done something wrong. I haven't always hit the mark. Hey, they're human beings. We don't expect them to be perfect. We shouldn't expect them to be perfect, but we should expect them to be held accountable and to hold themselves accountable and to serve the community who have voted for them and voted them in, to serve the community that they want to serve. And when it comes to things like this, like I said, with Kamala, I just wanted us to look back and see the kind of politician that we don't want. whether you're in Australia or in America. She, I think, is the kind of politician that you don't want. She, in my opinion, is just selfish. She's a liar, and she will not be held accountable for her own actions, even when she was acting as a politician, as a lawmaker. And we definitely don't want, no matter what country you're in, you do not want politicians that feel that it is their duty or to weaponize the police force, to turn the other government organizations that are supposed to be there to help serve the community, but instead they go and turn those services against the community that they're supposed to be serving. That is not the politician that we want. Whether you're in America, whether you're in Queensland, pray about who you're going to vote for. I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think the Labor Party deserve another run at things. Also, if you look at their history when it comes to things like abortion, it's absolutely abysmal. We need more politicians to stand up and raise their voices against this disgusting trend of abortion that we have in Australia. Anyway, so I hope you enjoy that video. Hope it just makes you think about the type of politician that you're going to vote for. We don't want someone like Kamala, who just lies and twists the stories just to suit her own narrative and to suit her own selfish desires. That's my opinion. I'm Jay Fallon. Thanks for listening to The Slippery Slope.
And say it isn't real, and please don't go away. Just give me one more day. What if I could? What if I could turn back time? I'd make you smile again. And if I could unbreak your heart, and we could start again. What if I could? What if I could turn back time? I'd make you smile again. And if I could unbreak your heart, and we could start again. We could start again. We could start again. We could start again.